Okay. A lot of moving parts this morning. Good morning, everybody. Doc Jeff. Morning coffee with Doc Jeff. Welcome to the show, to the live stream. I'm Doc Jeff. I am a board certified doctor of holistic health. I have my physical practice is located in Finlayson, Minnesota, out in the country. I also work with clients virtually across the country. It is phenomenal with today's technology and you can reach anywhere in the world. It's awesome to be able to do that. I don't practice medicine. I always start off the shows with that to remind people I'm not a medical doctor. I don't practice medicine. Instead, I actually help people get their health back through with supplements and no surgery. So no drugs, no surgery. A lot of coaching, lifestyle coaching. I teach people how to eat again, and I help navigate and remove the things that are hindering the body's ability to heal. The last few episodes I've been talking about the things that can get in the way of our healing. We've talked about trauma, we've talked about emotion, and how stuff can get stuck in the body. So today I wanted to dive into the nervous system because this is what gives us the connection to the rest of the world. So we're going to connection to everything. It senses everything in our inside our system and outside our system. So we're gonna talk about that. I'm streaming here from Minnesota. Just a quick. It's cloudy and gray and rainy out here, and it's the kind of day where you almost want to just curl up with a good book, get the wood stove going maybe, because it is chilly. Get the wood stove going and stay warm and stay on the couch, or maybe even put on a good movie, that kind of thing. I've got some, what keeps me from doing that today, I've got some chores I have to do around the property. I've got chickens to take care of and some last minute winter prep type things to get ready for, as much as I don't want to talk about potential winter. And if you're just joining the show, if you can, throw something up in the chat. Let me see if I can do this here. I got a lot of windows open. Anyway, I don't want to miss. I just was reminded this morning that not all of the places that I stream to can, hold on, can handle the chat. So through my main console, so I have to bring up the other services that I stream on. So I can watch for any comments in there. So now I've got the window open on X. I can see messages there. I have the window open on Rumble. Those are the two places. Everywhere else, if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn or Rumble. Rumble is on. No, yeah. There's so many different places. Sometimes the technology can get out of hand too, but we'll go with it. And during the show, if you have any questions, anyway, post a comment in the chat where you're watching from. It's always fun to let people know where you are. And that's it. Just drew a total blank right there. I was going somewhere with that. Anyway, it's a good segue into the nervous system. We're going to talk about the nervous system. A lot of my personal, you've seen some of my Facebook posts and all that. I'm not going to get into all the details, but what it drew back up to the top for me was just how crucial a role our nervous system plays in every single thing that we do, and so I wanted to kind of I in my own exploration with some of the personal growth work that I'm doing, I've been able to dive into that, and every time I do, I don't know if you guys are like this, every time I do any semblance of personal growth work, sometimes I come out of that with more questions. Okay. Yes, I know what the nervous system is. Yes, I know what the parts of it are and all that kind of stuff. But recently I've gotten into all the things that science doesn't necessarily talk about with regard to our nervous system and how crucial it is with our system. So it's going to be kind of fun to dive in. And I call it I titled the show today, the nervous system is the highway of healing. Okay, so grab your coffee. I have mine, and let's go. I will do my best to finish on time today, but it could be. Hopefully, the information will be interesting and fun for you guys. Um, so here we go. Oh, somebody, absolutely, same here. Good morning, Dawn. Dawn is hailing in from Wisconsin. All right. So the body has this incredible built-in communication network. Okay, a system that is so intricate that it touches every single cell, every organ, every emotion, and every thought that you have. I emphasize those two words, emotion and thought, because those are things that we just don't ever hear about when we grew up in school and learned in biology and we studied biology and all that kind of stuff. The emotion and thought was always, I always say, sidelined over to the psychiatrists and the psychologists and the counselors and the talk therapists. Well, from a holistic practitioner perspective, the emotion and thoughts are huge in the mind, body, spirit concepts. Okay. And so I can't, when I'm working with clients, I can't simply discard those. Now, of course, if I'm working with somebody that is really struggling with some of that stuff, yes, my advice to them, my recommendations to them will be to seek out a talk therapist, to go seek out counseling. I am never opposed to doing that. And I have worked with counselors throughout my life as well. Um, I don't mean to imply that what I do here is overreaching what they're doing. Okay. These are all, I'm just one tool and they're another tool set for the person. Okay. So every emotion and every thought that you have, it's called the nervous system and it's the highway of healing. And when it's calm and connected, life feels really clear. Okay. You can breathe, you can think, you can digest your food, you can feel love and safety and peace. But when that system is constantly lit up, buzzing like a live wire, it's as if the whole body forgets how to heal. And most people today, they're living stuck in that on position, constantly scanning, constantly reacting, constantly overthinking. I just described my life, my entire life of 60 years in that mode. Their body's foot is glued to the gas pedal of life. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And then they wonder why they can't sleep, why they can't lose weight, why their digestion is wrecked, or why they feel anxious for no reason. This this is nervous system dysregulation. It's what happens when the body's warning system gets jammed in high alert. And the truth is, it's not just caused by trauma or stress. It's everything. The food you eat, the light that you stare into, the noise you consume, the thoughts you repeat, the toxins you carry. It's the story you tell yourself when you wake up in the morning. And it's the story your body believes when you go to bed at night. So the nervous system doesn't just respond to danger. It learns from it. It stores it. And over time, it starts to act like that's normal. That's why people can feel anxious in a quiet room. Their body is still replaying yesterday's alarm. But here's the hopeful part. Your nervous system is trainable. It can unlearn the chaos. It can remember peace. And when it does, healing happens faster than you ever imagined. So today we're diving into that. What fires up your nervous system, what calms it down, and how you can create a body that actually feels safe enough to heal. This has been my journey over the last few weeks. Okay, you can go back and read some of my earlier posts on Facebook. You can go to my Substack channel, Beyond the Indicator Muscle on Substack. I've got some posts out there, I believe. Because here's the deal. Healing does not happen in fight or flight mode. It happens in rest. It happens in stillness. It happens when your body finally trusts that it's safe again. And if you've been through trauma, burnout, chronic illness, emotional chaos, I get it. I've been there too. But this conversation is for you and me. Teachers teach the lesson the best that they still themselves have to learn. So grab your coffee, take a breath with me, and let's talk about the nervous system, the most misunderstood key to health, happiness, and wholeness. Okay, looks like I lost some people. That's too bad. All right, hopefully they'll go back and watch the replay. So, what fires it up? The triggers that can hijack your calm. Okay, let's start with something simple. Your nervous system is not your enemy. God designed it to protect you. But protection has a cost when the alarm won't shut off. Today, most people are living like there's a tiger in the room while they're just checking email. Here's what keeps flipping the alarm switch and why you can feel revved up even when life looks fine. Okay. Number one is the survival gears, the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Yes, a lot of F's in there. When your brain detects threat, real or imagined, it shifts into sympathetic mode. Your heart rate rises, your pupils dilate, digestion slows, blood shunts to the big muscles, out to your limbs. That's useful for a sprint, not a lifestyle. Freeze is the brakes locked version, numb, foggy, checked out. Fawn is make it safe by pleasing, over agreeing, over apologizing, over functioning. Now, none of those are moral failures. They're learned survival strategies. And the nervous system repeats what worked. So, if your childhood, your job, or your recent season of life rewarded you for being on high alert, your body learned it as home base. The second thing is like the hidden matchsticks, everyday triggers that stack and stack and stack. I want you to picture a bucket. Every stressor is a cup of water poured into that bucket. 1 cup, no problem. 10 cups, overflow. Let's name the cups that overflow people every day. First one is blood sugar chaos. Okay. Skipping meals, slamming coffee, grazing on sweets, or late night snacking creates roller coaster glucose. Each crash is interpreted as a threat. You don't have willpower issues. You have a body asking, are we safe to feed the brain? So the tell here is if you get shaky, snappy, anxious, or hangry, that's your nervous system yelling for stability, not just calories. Then we have this thing called the circadian mismatch. This is where you have late screens, staring at your screen late. erratic bedtimes, blasting blue light at 10 p.m., then waking to an alarm after 5 hours of sleep. The brain's timekeeper thinks noon is midnight. You're out of rhythm. That equals being on alert. The simple fix later is light in the eyes early, less light late. Okay. Another thing that can keep your nervous system on, stimulants and depressants. Caffeine in excess is a sympathetic accelerant. Alcohol can sedate you short term, but disrupts deep sleep and rebounds anxiety at 2 to 3 a.m. Your system can't regulate if you're toggling between pedal and brake all day. Here's another hit on the nervous system, inflammation and toxic load. If the immune system is constantly dealing with irritants, processed foods, industrial seed oils, mold, mycotoxins, heavy metals, fragrances, plastics, your microglia, the brain immune cells, whisper danger 24/7. Body threat bleeds into mind threat. Okay. Then we have the gut brain crosstalk. This is dysbiosis, leaky gut, food sensitivities, constipation, all signal the vagus nerve. The brain hears the gut's distress and dials up vigilance. Many people call it anxiety. The body calls it, please fix the gut. Here's a big one. This has been for me. Unprocessed emotions and chronic thought loops, ruminating, catastrophizing, replaying old scenes. Your nervous system treats remembered pain almost like present danger. The story you rehearse trains the state that you live in. All right. Another one to think about. And as I was putting this together, I had to really reflect: am I at risk of putting myself into this? But one of them is overtraining with exercise and under recovering. Okay, had a hard workout this morning. It felt so good, but hard workouts with poor sleep, low protein, and low minerals, your body experiences the gym as a threat instead of a hermetic gift. It's not exercise is bad, it's dose and timing. So you got to give yourself a break every once in a while. It's okay to hit it hard, but make sure you're recovering with the proper time. And then this one was interesting, posture and breath mechanics, mouth breathing, chest breathing, tight psoas from sitting. That's one of my problems too. Your physiology says sprint, even on the couch. Slow nasal belly breaths say we're safe, and we'll practice that later. Okay. Here's one: the environment and inputs, noise, clutter, constant notifications, doom scrolling, conflict heavy media. The brain is a prediction machine. If you feed it chaos, you get vigilance. Curate your input so you can get some margin in there. For me personally, I stopped watching all news on TV. All news. Because it's all bullshit. It's all propaganda bullshit. And all it did for me was create stress because I would see what the news is reporting and know from other research that that wasn't accurate. They're not reporting accurate stuff. If you hear it on the news, it's a lie. Flat out lie. You cannot trust the news. I hate to say it. You should be able to trust the news, but there's no moral integrity anymore in the news system. It's all propaganda. Sorry, that was my 2 cents soapbox. All right. Um, Your environment and the inputs from your environment might be noise, clutter, constant notifications, doom scrolling. Okay, sorry, I covered that. Um, Social safety. Now, the polyvagal theory reminds us facial cues, tone of voice, and connection signal safety. So if you're in chronic relational conflict or isolation, it tips you over into the sympathetic side. And the antidote isn't more self criticism, it's co regulation with safe people. Notice none of these are about being weak, they're about the load that is pushed upon your nervous system. Okay. So we do this thing called nervous system stacking, why small things can become big. And most people blame the last straw. Okay. You've probably all used the expression, oh, that was the last straw, and you break. Okay. But most people look at the last straw as the whole cause for everything, and that's not the case. The last straw might be the panic in the checkout line, the snap at your spouse, the tears in traffic. Okay. But it started maybe the night before. Too little sleep, coffee on an empty stomach, skipped lunch, tough email, pre-workout arguments, and late screen time. By the time you feel it, your bucket's been full for hours. This is empowering, okay? If stress stacks, so does safety. So a few precise habits can unstack the day before the crash. And we'll talk about some of that. So how does dysregulation show up? Okay, so you don't gaslight yourself. The brain, racing thoughts, rumination, indecision, intrusive what ifs. You always play out the scenario. What if this happened? What if this does? What if that? And you just ruminate. You go over. I'm an expert at that. Fog and freeze states. Okay. In your body, you might have tight jaw, neck, shoulders, shallow breath, chest pressure, GI upset, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, palpitations, cold hands and feet. I've experienced every one of those in my life. I had surgery on my stomach because I didn't know how to process and unload the stress coming through my body, and it finally blew a gasket in my stomach. I had to have surgery. It may show up in your behavior with doom scrolling, compulsions, emotional eating, overworking, snapping at people, avoiding, perfectionism, people pleasing. Okay. And it may show up in your sleep. You're wired at night, tired in the morning, 2 to 3 a.m. wake ups. What this means is you're not broken. Okay. You're just over signaled. Too much signal coming in. And most of us ignore those signals happening in our body. So here's a 60-second experiment. We're going to do this live right now. Guilty. Dawn says she's guilty. Thanks for sharing that, Dawn. Let's test how fast the system shifts. Okay. What I want you to do is sit tall. If you just kind of relax back, I want you to sit tall. Okay. And then put your hands on your knees or whatever. Now, exhale completely. Get all the stale air out. Now, inhale through the nose for a count of 4. Hold for 2. And then exhale for 8. Slowly. Like fogging a mirror with lips lightly pursed. Repeat that for 4 cycles. Ready? In. And one more. Now notice your shoulders, your jaw, eyes, heart rate, the temperature of your thoughts, that downshift you feel. Okay. That's the vagus nerve saying, we're okay. And we're going to talk more about that in the next segment. If you did the exercise, throw how you felt in the chat. It's kind of fun to see. Right. So the deeper why, the learned safety versus learned danger. Okay. Some of us were trained by experiences, families, or careers to equate safety with control. Raise your hand if that's you. That's me. And so when control slips, the body screams. It might actually freak out. I had some of those over the last few weeks. And here's the reframe. Okay. Safety isn't the absence of stress, it's the presence of capacity. Capacity is built by rhythm, nourishment, connection, and truth. I've had seasons where my system was stuck on. I'm coming out of that finally, out of one of those seasons. And I know what it's like to pray at 3 in the morning for the storm to quiet. And what I realized in that time is, as I was equating safety with control, instead I needed to learn, and I need to learn how to equate safety more with presence. Can I be in the moment? Because the environment in which I was trained, I was a very young kid. I learned how to try to control everything so I could always try to keep safety. And that I look at that and it's like, how the fuck do you expect a child to grow up that way? Okay. So when I look at all this stuff, what helps isn't shaming myself for that. It's it's going through the processes of trying to retrain my nervous system. And it can be done. It's with regulation practice. It's with real food. It's mineral repletion, replacing minerals, and repentance from control, and choosing connection over isolation. Okay, one brick at a time. You have to have a lot of patience with yourself, a lot of grace. You probably will have a lot of conversations with God if God is your higher power. He is for me. So, where does quantum nutrition testing fit in this? When I run quantum nutrition testing, I'm looking for the roots that keep your dial stuck. Okay. I'm going to be looking at the blood sugar instability markers, mineral depletion, especially magnesium, potassium, sodium balance. I'm looking at gut stress. We're talking microbes, digestion, bioflow, detox pathways, your liver, your lymph, your drainage, hidden burdens, old injuries, scars, dental stressors, sleep, and circadian patterns, and emotional signatures that your body is still carrying. The goal isn't to chase symptoms, it's to lower the total load so your natural regulation comes back online. So grab a notebook. This is a quick audit you can do for yourself and score each of these items. I'm going to give you 10 items and score each of them from 0 to 5. 0 is not an issue, and 5 is a big issue. Okay. So score these, rank these, or score these. Okay. Sleep rhythm and quality. How does that sit for you, 0 to 5? Meal timing and blood sugar steadiness. Number 3, caffeine and alcohol dosing. That's a 5 for me. I drink a lot of coffee. Hydration and minerals. That is probably a 2 for me. I could do better. Screen light. Screen and light hygiene, morning sunlight and evening dimming. It's actually getting better. Many weeks ago, I started sleeping with a sleep mask because I have an awareness now that there's so much ambient light in today's technical household that nothing is just pitch black, and your body responds to any kind of light coming in. So I started sleeping with an eye cover, and it's been phenomenal. My sleep has been getting much better. And I don't have a TV in my bedroom, and I do not do screen time once I get into the bed. Okay. Number 6, daily breath and movement breaks. Do you get up? Do you take time to breathe? Do you notice your breath or movement breaks? I could do better on this. Number 7, clutter and notification noise. We know where all that's coming from. 0 to 5 on that. Safe connection time. Okay, with someone who calms you, and it doesn't have to be a person. It could be, I suppose, your pet too. Gut comfort, bloating, bathroom regularity, and then thought hygiene, rumination versus redirect. Okay, so anything 3 or higher is pouring water into your bucket daily, and that's where we start. So now we know what fires up the nervous system: load, chaos, and old patterns. Now I'm going to show you how to flip the switch back to rest, digest, and heal. And we'll do a daily nervous system reset. Anyone can do, okay? And with targeted supports um, that make calm your new normal. Just remember, you're not fragile, you're adaptive. And with the right input, your body will gladly learn peace again. So before I jump into this next segment, if you're just joining the show, jump on the chat and say hi. Whether you're on X, Rumble, or Facebook, appreciate it. Oh, it's raining out. I got to let the dog in. Hold on. It's almost like he knew we were between segments. All right. Okay, so when your nervous system has lived in overdrive for years, safety can actually feel foreign. Calm can feel uncomfortable. Stillness can feel threatening. Silence can even feel wrong. Because when you've lived in chaos, your body memorizes chaos as normal. But here's the good news: it's not permanent. The nervous system isn't a broken circuit, it's a learning system. It can relearn peace just like it learned panic. So, I want to talk you through how to bring your body back into regulation, not with force, but with rhythm. Okay? Now, let's see if I can do this screen share. A practitioner colleague posted this image yesterday. The timing was perfect because we talk about freeze. It was a great graphic on the nervous system. Okay. And it talks about being in the freeze here with the parasympathetic, the sympathetic nervous system, and all of the things: the fight, the flight. This is sympathetic, gets you up into the freeze. You kind of disassociate, you numb, you might be depressed, all that. and it was pretty interesting. So let's go with it. The parasympathetic nervous system is your built-in restoration program. Okay, it's like pressing update and reboot on your body's software. When this part of your system is active, your breath deepens, digestion turns on, detox pathways open, your hormones rebalance, and the mind becomes still enough to listen for God's voice. It's the same space where healing, creativity, and faith live. But it doesn't just turn on by wishing for peace. You have to signal it through your senses, your breath, your thoughts, and your daily rhythms. Okay? The breath that rewires the body, the fastest way to talk to your nervous system isn't through words, it's through breath. Shallow chest breathing says danger. And if you just take note of how you breathe, if you're real shallow, that keeps your body kind of it signals danger. Versus if you do slow nasal diaphragmatic breathing, where you breathe, some people may even call it belly breathing, where you actually breathe, allow your diaphragm to expand when you take in a breath through your belly. Okay, that signals safety. So I did the demo for you. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold gently for 2, and then exhale through your mouth for 8. Slow, like you're fogging a mirror. Okay. Do that for 4 or 5 rounds and your pulse will slow. Each long exhale is like a whisper to the vagus nerve. We're okay now. So do this before bed, before meals, in traffic, or before difficult conversations. How many times have you known you've got to do a confront with somebody or have a difficult conversation with somebody, and you can just feel the tightness in your whole body? Okay, especially in your chest, you're all tense and all that kind of stuff. That's an opportunity. That's an invitation for you to just take a moment and run your body through the breathing, because you're safe. It's just a reminder to tell your body we're safe. And over time, that becomes your new default. Calm first, react later. Okay. Step 2, your posture, your facial expressions and movements speak to your nervous system too. So when your shoulders are tight, your jaw is clenched, or eyes are darting, your brain thinks danger is close. It's almost a hyper-vigilant mode. It's like always kind of in the Navy, when you're out at sea and you're on the flight deck, they always tell you keep your head on a swivel. You got to watch your surroundings, everything. You're trained to become hyper-vigilant in some of those situations. Roll your shoulders back. Unclench your jaw. Let your tongue rest on the roof of your mouth. And smile gently, even slightly. It sounds simple, but your body reads these as cues of safety. And this is what I found Dr. Stephen Porges calls the social engagement system, the way your body co-regulates with others. Okay? There's a calm face and a tone of voice don't just show peace, they create it. So step 3 is nourish the wiring. All right? Your nervous system runs on electricity. This is a scientific fact. And the electricity needs minerals. So if you're magnesium deficient, low in sodium, or constantly dehydrated, your electrical current shorts out. You'll feel twitchy, wired, or foggy, not peaceful. And here's what I recommend as a foundation, like magnesium. You can do glycinate, malate, or threonate, almost a hard one to pronounce. The the relaxation mineral. Magnesium is. Potassium, you can find that in bananas, avocados, coconut water, mineral drops. Sodium, a pinch of quality organic sea salt in your water, especially if you drink a lot or sweat. You want omega-3 fats to keep cell membranes flexible and inflammation low. You want to look at B vitamins to rebuild adrenal and nerve function. And then hydration. Half your body weight in ounces of water daily, and you can add some trace minerals to that. And you can bet food matters too. Every refined carb spike is a false alarm. Every nutrient dense meal is reassurance. We're safe, we're fed, we're okay. So when you're eating the refined carb crap, the candies, the cakes, the cookies, and all that kind of stuff, yeah, on one hand, emotionally, it might be nurturing food and whatnot, but it adds to the false alarm that you're not safe. Because it's going to, remember earlier we talked about the blood sugar spikes. Okay. Now, rhythm is huge. When I'm talking to people, sometimes half part of the conversation is always talking about what kind of rhythm are you in. Your body doesn't heal from intensity, it heals from consistency. So you want to set a rhythm that tells your system life is predictable and safe again. So wake up with light. Go outside within 10 minutes of sunrise, even on the cloudy days. Go outside and get some daylight. You want to eat within an hour. Balance protein, fat, and carbs to stabilize glucose. In fact, my recommendation for most people is to start your day with protein-heavy foods and low carb. Take a midday walk. What that does is motion resets emotion. Motion resets emotion. And then no screens 90 minutes before bed. Trade scrolling for prayer, reading, or some gentle stretching. And then sleep in darkness. Your melatonin is light sensitive, not stress sensitive. And so not only do I sleep with the eye mask on, but I also have curtains in my bedroom that are dark out curtains. I don't want any light in my space. And a good friend taught me how to do that recently. I don't want any light in my space when I'm sleeping because the melatonin is light sensitive in your body. So this rhythm builds what I call a biological trust. Your body learns it can rely on you. Okay. Now, step 5 is the calm through connection comment that I made earlier. Your nervous system is wired for relationship. When you're around safe people, your heart rate slows, your breath deepens, and your muscles soften. That's co-regulation, the nervous system's version of fellowship. Okay. If you isolate, you deprive your body of that biological safety signal. You can't heal in constant hypervigilance. So reach out, pray with someone, hug longer, share meals. Even petting your dog counts. Oxytocin releases, cortisol drops. God never designed us to self-soothe in isolation. He designed us to regulate through connection. But that connection has to be safe. You want a safe connection. You don't want it done through control. You want it done through presence. Be present with your connections. That is real safety. And then step 6, stillness and surrender. When you've done all the practical things, the breath, the food, the minerals, there's one more layer. Surrender. Because ultimately, peace isn't something you manufacture, it's something you receive. So when you finally stop gripping for control, the body can relax. I have to say that out loud again, and I know I wrote this yesterday. But when you finally stop gripping for control, the body can relax. When you hand it to God, the worry, the fear, the outcome, your system recognizes the truth. I don't have to fight anymore. That's when true regulation happens. When your spirit leads, your mind softens, and your body follows. All right. So, step 7 is the daily nervous system reset. Here's what I call the Doc Jeff daily reset. Okay. It's simple, repeatable, powerful. In the morning, do 2 minutes of deep breathing plus gratitude plus sunlight. Speak one truth out loud. For example, today, my body is safe. God is in control. I do that first thing sometimes when I sit up in the morning. I put my hand on my chest and say, I am loved. I am enough. I am worthy. I am safe. Because that little routine for me is a reminder that I'm not that little kid anymore, waking up in danger, having to be in hypervigilant alert. I'm safe. I'm fine. Nobody's attacking me. Nobody's coming at me. All right. So the morning routine, 2 minutes of breathing, and then speak one truth aloud. Midday, do a 10-minute walk outdoors. Okay. Hydrate with some minerals and take 60 seconds to check in. Am I in fight or flight, or am I safe? And then in the evening, screens off 90 minutes before bed. Gentle stretch or legs up the wall pose. Do 3 rounds of 4-7-8 breathing. I meant to write 4-2-8. Write three things you're grateful for. And pray. Surrender the day, the outcome, and the control. If you follow this pattern for 7 days, your baseline state begins to shift, and you'll notice your body coming back home to you. When I test clients using quantum nutrition testing, one of the first priorities I look for is nervous system stress. Okay, the body speaks clearly on this. Cranial stress points light up. The vagus pathways weaken. The brain gut circuits test off. Minerals test deficient, even with good diets. And when we clear those stressors, when we release the electrical interference, the client often feels it instantly. Their body exhales, their eyes brighten. They say, I feel lighter. I can't count the number of times that's happened when I've had people in the office. That's nervous system regulation coming back online. It's a wonderful and beautiful thing to watch, to be witness to. So we've talked about the physical, the breath, the minerals, the rhythm, the relationships, but there's still a deeper layer still, the energetic and spiritual connection. Because your nervous system isn't just biological. It's the interface between your soul and your cells. It's where God's peace translates into the body's calm. So we're going to dive into that, how energy, thought, and prayer connect to your nervous system, and how you can align your internal frequencies with the one who designed them. Grab your coffee real quick. If you're just joining the show, throw in the chat where you're watching from. It's always fun to see. I'll check all these other chat windows. If you're on Rumble, jump into the live chat. Throw a comment down. I'd love to see where you're watching from. All right. Same with X. I'm going to throw a chat just so you can see it. Oh, X. Oh, X comes through. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I learned something. Even though the software tells me that I can't get I can't see chats from X or Rumble, they still came through in my control panel. So that's kind of cool. All right. So when the soul speaks through the nervous system, that's what I want to talk about, because we are a spiritual being living in this physical body. Okay, our soul lives in this physical body that we've been blessed to walk around in. Okay, so when I first started working with clients years ago, I thought healing was about, hey Marie, good morning, hails from East Central Minnesota. When I first started working with clients, I thought healing was about the right supplement, the right protocol, the right diet. And while all of that matters, I eventually learned and I saw something deeper. Okay. You can give someone every supplement under the sun, but if their nervous system doesn't feel safe, the body won't fully receive the healing. Whoa. Because the nervous system is more than wiring and impulses, it's a translator between your soul and your cells. So think of it this way: your soul, your consciousness, your spirit communicates in energy, in vibration, in intention. Your body translates that through electrical signals, hormones, neurotransmitters, and chemistry. That translation happens through the nervous system. It's where faith becomes physiology, where prayer becomes peace, where truth becomes cellular direction. When you're aligned with God's presence, your nervous system literally reflects it. Your heart rate stabilizes, your breath deepens, your brainwaves slow, and healing begins to ripple through every cell. And science calls that coherence. Scripture calls it peace that surpasses all understanding. And so there's a cost of disconnection. Okay? When we live disconnected from our source, from God, from truth, from the still small voice, the nervous system loses its anchor. It's like a ship with no compass. You drift, you react, you grasp. You chase regulation in all the wrong places: food, sex, control, busyness, noise, anything to fill the emptiness that stillness would heal. This is why surrender is so powerful, because surrender isn't giving up, it's coming home. When you surrender your control over to God, your nervous system recognizes safety again, because it finally believes someone bigger has the wheel. That's when the heart rate lowers, that's when digestion restarts, that's when the tears flow, not from pain, but from release. And with trauma, memory, and the Holy Spirit, you can't pray trauma away, but you can invite the Holy Spirit into the places trauma still lives. So when the body has stored pain, whether from childhood neglect, betrayal, loss, or fear, it's held in the fascia. And that's what started all this journey for me. I kept getting stuck up in my pelvis and my hip, and the front of my leg. My right leg was going numb, and I'm working with the chiropractor, and it wasn't helping, and I'm doing all the supplements, and it wasn't helping. And I finally met somebody that helped me discover that there was stuff stuck in my fascia, and reminded me that I perhaps need to look at that. And so that's when I went to start working with an herbalist. She gave me some great herbs, and it popped some of those memories and that stored memory, that stored trauma out, so I could look at it again and process through it. Hopefully I've processed through it properly this time and released it. My pelvis and hip and leg all feel much better. So the moment you bring awareness and presence into that pain, not to fix it, but to feel it with God beside you, something miraculous happens. The charge of that stored memory, that stored pain, begins to dissolve. The story loses its sting. The energy releases through the same pathways that once held it. I've seen this in sessions countless times. I've seen it in my own life, in my own body. A client on the table, trembling, breathing, eyes wet, and suddenly they whisper, "It's gone." That's not placebo. That's the nervous system remembering peace through divine companionship. And so every thought, intention, has frequency. Every thought you have carries an electrical and magnetic signal. This is how science measures that with the EEGs, where they put all the electrodes on your head. Every thought that you have carries an electrical and magnetic signal. This is why they use lie detectors. They strap you in and have you hold these things and ask you questions because your thoughts are carrying this a signal. It's electric and magnetic. Okay. Every emotion you hold has a frequency. Fear vibrates fast and chaotic. Love vibrates smooth and coherent. So when your thoughts are fear-based, your nervous system tightens to protect you. When your thoughts are love-based, your nervous system relaxes to connect you. That's why scripture tells us, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because renewing your mind literally renews your body's electrical pattern. When you practice gratitude, compassion, forgiveness, your vagus nerve activates. Your heart and brain sync up, your immune system wakes up, and you stop surviving and start thriving. So, prayer isn't just talking to God, it's a physiological shift. When you pray sincerely, your breathing slows, your awareness drops from head to heart. You've heard that. You got to get out of your head, drop down into your heart. Okay? Praying helps that. That alone regulates the nervous system. In that moment, you've shifted from striving to communion, from cortisol to coherence, from self-protection to divine trust. That's why prayer before meals helps your digestion, not because of superstition, but because it turns on the parasympathetic response. That's what you need to digest your food. Your body literally digests better in gratitude. When you pray over your life, your relationships, your fears, your nervous system gets the memo. It's safe to rest. God is near. So the energetic layer in quantum nutrition testing, I don't just look at the physical circuits. Okay, we look at the energetic flow. When I test someone for nervous system stress, I'm tuning into frequency response, or frequency resonance, the subtle communication between body and field. Sometimes the issue isn't a supplement deficiency, but a spiritual misalignment. Could be unforgiveness, resentment, shame. Those emotions create measurable energetic interference in the nervous system. For some people, I'm just asking if the question is it some kind of stress? A lot of times the answer might be yes. Some people want to dive down deeper into that, and that's where we'll get into the unforgiveness. What type of stress? Unforgiveness, resentment, shame. Other people don't want to know. I try to encourage more information. Those emotions, as I said, create a measurable energetic interference in your nervous system. And when that interference clears through prayer, forgiveness, intention, or corrective frequency, people often say, I feel lighter, clearer, more me. That's coherence returning to the system. And that's energy aligning with truth. So here's something I share often, and I invite you to try it daily. Sit quietly, feet grounded, one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Close your eyes. Inhale through your nose for 4, exhale through your mouth for 6, 7, or 8. On each exhale, whisper quietly, God, I surrender. And on each inhale, whisper, fill me with your peace. Feel the rise and fall, the pulse of life inside you. Then just listen. This practice combines breath, intention, and faith, the language that your nervous system understands best. And so, when your nervous system, mind, and spirit align, you become coherent. And coherence is contagious. Your calm regulates others around you. Your peace shifts rooms. Your groundedness anchors those around you. And that's why Jesus said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was demonstrating physiological mastery. He carried a nervous system in complete harmony with the Father. That's why storms obeyed him. That's why people were healed by his touch. He wasn't out of balance. He was in divine coherence. And that's our invitation too, to become so aligned, so at peace, so connected that our nervous system becomes an instrument of his peace. And it might just be what someone near you needs so they can begin their own healing journey. So we've seen what dysregulates the body, what restores it, now what sanctifies it. Now we're going to make it practical and repeatable, because it's one thing to feel peace in prayer, but it's another to live from that peace in your daily life. In our final segment, I'll walk you through a daily routine to reset. I'm going to go pretty quick, and I'll share how you use quantum nutrition testing, how I can use it to identify exactly what your body needs to stay in the long run. Okay? So we covered a lot today, and what fires up your nervous system, what brings it back to calm, and how spirit, mind, and body all tied together. So let's pull it down to earth and make it practical. Because healing isn't found in doing everything perfectly. It's found in doing a few simple things consistently every single day. As I've said before, in the morning, set the tone before the world does. Your nervous system wakes up looking for cues. Am I safe today, or am I already behind? If the first thing you do is grab your phone, you just told your brain we're in danger. So instead, try this. Step outside, get some sunlight in your eyes for 5 minutes. Take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out slowly through the mouth, and then say a truth out loud. Today, my body is safe. I am grounded. God is with me. Drink water with a pinch of salt or minerals before coffee. And that one simple routine tells your nervous system we're starting from peace, not panic. Now, midday, create a reset point. By midday, most people's bodies are already running on stress hormones, and here's how to interrupt that pattern. Eat a real meal, protein, healthy fat, colorful veggies. Step away from screens for 10 minutes. Take a short walk or stand barefoot on the ground. Breathe, 4-second inhale, 6-second exhale, 3 rounds. These little resets keep your body from stacking stress all day. And if you work in an office, you can still do this. Stand, stretch, look out a window, breathe. Your coworkers might not notice, but your nervous system will thank you. And in the evening, transition from doing to being. You can't fall asleep if your brain still thinks it's on the battlefield. So create a wind down ritual. Shut down your screens an hour before bed, or at least use warm light. Journal a few sentences. What went well today? What you're grateful for? What you're releasing? Stretch lightly or do legs up the wall for 5 minutes. Pray, breathe, and let your last thought be, God, I trust you with what I can't control. That's how you cue your nervous system that the day is finished, that you're safe to rest and repair. There's nutritional and supplement support. If your nervous system is running hot, your body often needs help replenishing its building blocks. I talked about magnesium, B vitamins, adrenal support, omega-3 oils, mineral drops. And of course, I fine-tune these through quantum nutrition testing with my clients so I know exactly what their body is asking for. I'm not just guessing. I muscle test everything. And then regulate through relationships. You don't regulate in isolation, you regulate through connection. So spend time with people who help your body feel safe. Laugh more, hug longer, share real conversations. Time with your pet, because you want to drop your oxytocin and cortisol fast. Or oxytocin drops your cortisol fast. You don't want to drop your oxytocin. The opposite of stress isn't stillness, it's connection. And so the 3-minute reset, you can do anywhere. Sit tall, feet grounded, inhale, roll your shoulders, relax your jaw, whisper silently, I'm safe, I'm supported, I can slow down. Picture a warm light, the presence of God, spreading through your body from head to toe. That's it. It takes less time than scrolling through one social media post, yet it can change the direction of your whole day. So, regulation doesn't mean you never feel stress. It means you bounce back faster. You catch yourself before you spiral. You notice what peace feels like and you know how to return there. Your nervous system is not broken. It's just waiting for you to give it the signals of safety again. And the more you do, the more your body learns. I can trust this, I can rest, and I can heal. So, closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the wisdom and design of our bodies, for the intricate way you knit our minds, hearts, and spirits together. Teach us to slow down long enough to listen to what our bodies are saying. Help us to find peace not just in quiet moments, but in every breath, every thought, every day. May your presence calm our storms, regulate our hearts, and remind us that in you we are safe. In Jesus' name, amen. Look, folks, if you would like some help with getting your health back into balance, that's what I am here for. It's one thing to listen to my podcast, it's another to actually implement. And sometimes people have the hardest time knowing where to start, how to implement all of this kind of stuff, all the things I talk about in my podcast. So I'm here to help you as your holistic lifestyle coach, as your health coach. I practice with quantum nutrition testing. And if you want to book a time, um, schedule a time, you can go to the website. It's up in the profile, evensonholistic.com. Right on the page when it first comes up is a link to schedule a full assessment. And if you notice at the top of the webpage, there's a code there called Health Truth. Okay, and it'll give you some money off. So do that. Don't wait for January 1st. So many people decide, oh, I'll just wait for a New Year's resolution. Folks, I'm telling you, bullshit. You name me one New Year's resolution that has worked for you, and, well, heck, maybe pigs will fly. They don't work, okay? So start now. Don't wait till the first of the year. Start now. Yesterday, Halloween kicked off the sugar season, and this is the season where everybody's immune system goes to shit, because everyone is gorging with sugars and all the fun stuff. You're going to holiday parties and all that kind of stuff, Thanksgiving and Christmas, yada, yada, yada. Every place you go is an invitation to eat crap food. But if you're working now, we can help you get through that, help you navigate through that so it's not such a hard impact on your body. And instead, you might actually come out of the holidays in a better healed state than you were today. Okay? Love you guys. We'll talk to you later. I'll see you next week.